Well, hello everyone, and here we are again for the third time this week, or through third time in 7 days, doing another championship prediction for this coming weekend. As I say, it's 3 games in a week, a lot of travelling for some teams, 2 away games for some teams, etc., etc. All the usual championship ingredients that make up really one of the toughest leagues that you could possibly play in as a footballer, as a professional footballer, I reckon. So, what have we got? What happened at midweek then? Well, Sunderland, stuttering a little bit now. I say stuttering a little bit now, but they will have been disappointed to have had 2 goalless draws against Preston and Queen's Park Rangers. They would have wanted probably a 4-point haul at least from those. But they still just about fly the flag at the top. Will they be top come 5 o'clock or whatever it is at the end of the weekend? Who knows, going into the international break. Sheffield United have snuck into second place at the expense, I have to say with a heavy heart, of Bristol City. But they showed their mettle in a difficult game at Ashton Gate for them on Tuesday night. 1-0 down with about 15 minutes to go. But then in the last 10 minutes of playing time, it all imploded for Bristol City, unfortunately for them. And they lost their decent unbeaten run they had going. To a good side, obviously. Sheffield United are not second place for no reason. And if it hadn't been for their 2-point deduction, they would be joint top as we speak, because they've got exactly the same playing record as Sunderland. So Sheffield United snuck in, took the 2 points with a very late goal in the end. I thought Bristol City were going to maintain at least their unbeaten run, but they didn't even get that prize. And Sheffield United took the points. Then down at the bottom, we still have Portsmouth, who are now, worryingly for their fans, 6 points adrift of the safety line. And you just don't want to see that line, that sort of gap getting any bigger. So they have a home game, which we'll talk about when we get to their fixture. But they were desperately unlucky in the old so-called Dockyard Derby against Plymouth. Wayne Rooney's team running out winners in the end, 1-0. But Portsmouth played extremely well, and how they didn't get anything from the match will defy a lot of people who were there for a very long time. Didn't have the rub of the green in the refereeing stakes, didn't have the rub of the green in front of goal, but they do lack, they haven't got a championship quality striker, unfortunately, with Colby Bishop being out. They didn't replace him when they knew he was going to be on a long-term injury, which is the bone of contention amongst fans here, I can tell you. Anyway, Portsmouth still need to get moving soon, or else it won't be a very happy Christmas around the Frampton Park area if they don't make that move. So they're still propping up the league, but only by a point from Queen's Park Rangers. But those 2 teams now are 5 points adrift from everybody else. And there are 6 teams on 15 points. Can you credit it already? There's 4 teams on 18 points, 3 teams on 19 points. It's just a congested parking lot in the middle of that table. Just 6 points from 7th to 21st. 22nd even. Incredible, really. And that's why it's so difficult to predict. He defends very quickly the role I've got. So, what have we got then coming up this weekend? More importantly, we'll do a quick review of who did what as we go through, of course, as I always do. Friday the 8th of November. Of course, I haven't got at the time of going to press myself tonight, I haven't got the match that's kicking off on Thursday evening, which is West Bromwich Albion against Burnley, which I predicted as a 0-0, and we'll see if that turns out. But, so we go straight in then to the weekend with a Friday night game as usual, Watford against Oxford. Watford putting 6 past Sheffield Wednesday, and then coming up against the enigmatic Swansea. What are they going to do, Swansea? We just never know. But they did turn over Watford by 1-0, which Watford will be disappointed about, because I'm sure they went there with high hopes after such a good win. They're playing Oxford, who had a really good home win against Hull. Hull are really not just treading water in the division at the moment, and we'll talk about them when we get to their match. But Oxford chalked up a much needed home win, or a very welcome home win. Let's put it that way. But I think they'll slip up against Watford. Watford under lights, fans, Friday night, let's go and give it their all. Oxford won't be brushed aside very easily, that's for sure. They never are. But I think Watford will be okay with 3 points on the road from 2 tricky matches maybe, and want to sort of get back. They're in the playoff zone, 22 points, so they'll want to add to that, and I think they will. Watford 2, Oxford 1. Then we have Cardiff City against Blackburn Rovers. Cardiff will be disappointed to have come second to Luton in the week. Luton under pressure, you think, oh, let's go there, Cardiff, with their tails wagging a little bit after recent upturn in form. Couldn't quite do the business. Unfortunately, I went down by 1-0. Blackburn, I just don't know what's happening to Blackburn at the moment. They're not scoring goals. They had such a bright start to the season. They've lost their last 3 matches, haven't won in 4. It's all a bit of a sorry tale for them as we go from autumn into winter. Having, as I say, had just such a bright start. And they lost 2-0 at home to Stoke. And Stoke was starting to find their feet a little bit after a sluggish start as well. Blackburn then at Cardiff. I think Cardiff will continue their recent excellent home form and chalk up another one, another 3-point haul. And I'm going to give Cardiff City 2, Blackburn Rovers 0. Takes us on to Middlesbrough against Luton. As I say, Luton edged past Cardiff at home in the week, taking the pressure off Rob Edwards and co down at Luton, Kenilworth Road. Middlesbrough up and down as all over the place at the moment, aren't they? Losing 3-0 at home to Coventry, admittedly with 10 men, and then going down to West London and putting 4 past Queen's Park Rangers. And Queen's Park Rangers really are in a dreadful mess as well. Down there, 5 points adrift, as I say, of that clutch of teams on 15 points. So, but Middlesbrough against Luton, then I think Middlesbrough will put on a decent performance at home after that win, buoyed by that 4-1 win. And they won't push Luton aside. Luton, let's not forget, were digging in the Premier League not so many weeks ago. But they are finding life a bit tough in the Championship at the moment. It's not. They are the team that people want to beat as well. You bring that mantra with you when you get relegated, especially as they're probably the better of the 3 sides playing wise. Anyway, we won't rattle on too much about that. That's all history. What's the future? I think Middlesbrough will come out 2-1 winners. Middlesbrough 2, Luton Town 1. And the third game, Saturday lunchtime, sees Stoke City playing Millwall. Now, Millwall have had a great double, 1-0 double over Leeds and Burnley. That's been, I think, the turnaround so far for me, the turnaround of the season so far. Those first matches, I think they shipped 4 at Bristol City, didn't they? 4-3. And they shipped, I think, 3 at home as well. And really struggled. I think they lost to Luton as well, did they? Or did Luton? I can't remember, but my memory's fading. But I know they were shipping goals, not getting points. And now they're rubbing it up the top there in the top region with in 5th place. And 2 excellent clean sheets and 2 excellent wins against 2 of the fancy teams in the division. Fair. Hats off to Millwall. I've given them a big build-up, and now I'm going to sort of let the air out the tyres a little bit, because I think Stoke rejuvenated. Although they took a while to sort of follow up that 6-1 game against Portsmouth. Only the 1 loss in the last sort of 6 or 7 matches. So I think they themselves will do the 1-0 feat over Millwall. Reverse the compliment that Millwall have been dishing out. So I'm going to take Stoke to edge that one by 1-0 in a very tight and probably a really tough old match at Stoke on Saturday lunchtime. Takes us into Saturday afternoon. Derby County, whose 2-1 win at Coventry on Wednesday night saw the end of the reign of the Coventry manager, Mark Robbins. What a shame that is. We'll talk about that when we come to their match. So Derby dealt that deed out, winning 2-1. and a very good away win it was too. And because Coventry had won their previous 2 matches as well. They're playing Plymouth, who I say had that, I say fortunate win. I'm sure Plymouth fans will say, oh no, it wasn't we got there in the end, blah, 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 you got to take it. Yes, I take all that, but they were outplayed for good periods of outthought for good periods of the match. But they did get the win, as they have been doing at home in front of their fans. That's where they've got all their points bar 1, as I say, and they're still in the bottom 3. But they are the boss. They are the 6th of the clutch of the 15 pointers. So they, with a better goal difference, if they hadn't had those thrashings away from home, they could have been looking a little pretty in 5th, 16th, 17th spot. Anyway, they're not, and I think they'll go down to Derby. Their away record just cannot buy a corner even away from home, let alone anything else. So I'm going to go for Derby to back up their good win in midweek. And Derby 2, Plymouth Argyle 0 is my take on that one. Leeds United fell foul of the Millwall atmosphere in midweek and went down by a goal to 0, as we've said already. So Leeds will want to get back on track, having slipped out of the top 2 due to Sheffield United's 3rd win on the trot. And Queen's Park Rangers, as we know, licking their wounds. They seem to be doing that all too often at the moment, home or away. They did sort of, let's say, stabilise. They dug in for 3 draws on the trot. But as soon as you drop back to a loss, it just compounds that non-winning streak. And it's stretching now to 6 matches. And really, Queen's Park Rangers, as I say, 4-1 at home to Middlesbrough will be very disappointing for them. And I think I'm going to repeat that scoreline. I'm going to take another 4-1 at Leeds. I think Leeds will get at them on Saturday and want to get back on track pretty quickly. So Leeds United 4, Queen's Park Rangers 1 is my outcome for that one. Then we have a tale of 2 cities, Norwich and Bristol, who both suffered midweek defeats. Bristol City perhaps a little bit unluckily to a point against Sheffield United. But Sheffield United, 3 wins on the trot, showing their mettle a little bit. Very accomplished performance, really. Although Bristol City took the lead, excuse me, from the penalty spot. And all but hold out for at least a point. But Sheffield came good. And Bristol City need to start their run again. Norwich didn't take advantage of the potential fragility of Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday having let in 6, excuse me, and then took on Norwich, and lo and behold, kept a clean sheet. Which I've always said is a very difficult thing to do against Norwich. Whatever their form, one thing they do is usually get the back of the net. They've scored 23 goals. Their games have realised 43 goals in their matches and aggregate. And as I say, there'll be more goals around this weekend. I think Bristol City will go there and play. Two sides that like to play the ball from the back, out of the back. They don't lump it forward very often, neither of these sides. Probably overplay in Bristol City's take on it sometimes. But I think an entertaining game, a good game it will be, and I'm going to go Norwich City 2, Bristol City 2. Takes us to Portsmouth against Preston North End. Now, as I say, Portsmouth are 6 points adrift. And as I say, the fans' patience is running out, because they certainly saw a very, very good performance in midweek on Tuesday down at Home Park in Plymouth. They just haven't got that championship edge that you need up front. They didn't replace Colby Bishop, who had this really unfortunate heart condition that he's now very slowly recovering from. Who knows what he's going to be like match fitness wise. All of that comes into play, doesn't it? And you've had a stoppage or an outage like that for so long. So we shall see how he goes when he comes back, but he's not really near the squad too much yet, I don't think. And Portsmouth really do need to sort out get their wins and sort out their home form. If they're going to stay up in this league, they've had some good away performances, but excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. Apologies for that. Yes, so Portsmouth, I think, will suffer again at the hands of Preston. Preston, accomplished side, dug in against top of the table Sunderland in the week for a goalless draw. So I think they will. They've only had one loss in the last 6, but they have had 4 draws. So that's again, where you're dropping points. But one of the cluster of 15 club, they're the 15 club as well, Preston. So Portsmouth really will see this as a game they can sort of still see the shirt tails in the distance if they can get a win here. But I think Preston will go down and do the job. I take them to win by 2-1, but we shall see. Let's see how Portsmouth can actually turn the tables for once. Last game on Saturday then, it's not the last game, it's 3 o'clock, but it's the last fixture listed. Sunderland back home after 2 goalless draws, sending their fans all around the country for 2 goalless games, and 2 unbeaten matches, obviously, and 2 points to add to their total, and it keeps them top of the table. So they're still very proud of that, I'm sure, going into this final international break, coming into round 15, and nicely in the mix now to really make an established attack on the promotion. Now they're playing Coventry, who, as I say, surprised me, although I hadn't realised until I read it that Coventry have only won 4 at the last 24 league games. That seems quite incredible. I hope that stat was right that I read. Was that misinformation? It sounds incredible, given that they finished, I know they let slip a little a playoff place last year, didn't they, at the end? They got a bit bogged down in the league because of the brilliant cup run, and they deserved a cup final place, I think we all agree, really, for their comeback against Manchester United. Anyway, so Mark Robins took on the club when they were at their low ebb, hardly had a player to lace boots up, didn't really have a stable ground to play in. I think they played at Northampton over there. They played they played at Birmingham. They've been a bit nomadic as well. He pulled all that together, got them 2 promotions, got them 2 penalty kicks away from the Premier League and the cup final. So goodness me, I thought he had a bit more credit in the bank, but these days the owners are trigger happy. And Mark Robins, unfortunately, I think that's been harshly dealt with there. But I think looking at some of the forums today, Coventry fans are generally in agreement with that he's had a rough deal. Because they have perhaps had a bit of a lean time in the league, and they had 2 poor starts last season and this season as well. But they recovered last season to play some excellent football, and they were just starting to recover a little bit, you thought, this season. A draw and 2 wins, and then this loss in midweek, which for some reason seems to be the straw that broke the camel's back with the owners and the powers that be at Coventry. So disappointment for me to see a good man who's done so much good for Coventry lose his role today, as I speak. So he will get another job pretty soon. I'm sure he'll probably want to take 5, go and have a few weeks off, perhaps see the Christmas period out with his family, and then perhaps come back fresh in the new year. Let's hope he does, and I should be looking out for that. However, so managerless Coventry go to Sunderland. So I don't think this is a new manager bounce issue or a change of manager bounce match. I think Sunderland are going to take it, and I think they'll take it by a narrow victory by 2-1 to get their win total back on track. Taking us on to Remembrance Sunday in the UK, or across the world really, across Europe. Sunday the 10th of November, we have first up the Sheffield Derby to get us all woken up on a sleepy Sunday. United home to Wednesday. I think there'll be goals about. I think United obviously hot favourites, given that their current run of form, 3 wins on the trot. But noisy neighbours are noisy neighbours, whichever way around you consider that. And Wednesday, as I say, their graph is up and down at the moment, losing 6-2, and then suddenly keeping a clean sheet, winning 2-0. Who knows what they're going to do? But their away form has been a little bit rocky, hasn't it? So they will be mindful of that. But it's a short trip across the road. They'll have good backing. And I think they're big odds about it. But I think it'll be Sheffield United winning it with the odd goal in 5. So I'm going to go Sheffield United 3, Sheffield Wednesday 2. But that will be a very good game to watch on Sunday lunchtime. 2 more to go then. On Sunday lunchtime, Hull City, as I say, Hull City losing to Oxford. Really treading water for me this season. Another side that got, we don't know the rights of it. I don't know the rights of it. But I was very disappointed when they sacked or removed Liam Rosenior from his role at the end of last season for not getting in the playoffs, allegedly. That was the reason. And they finished 7th, for goodness sake. A young manager learning his way. Yes, he probably made mistakes, perhaps didn't do it quite as the owners expected. But you put your faith in a young manager and a young up-and-coming manager too, who seemed to be doing quite well and seemed to be quite liked, or more than quite liked, by the playing squad. So that apple cart was upset, and what happens? Here we are, 18th place, no wins in 6, a manager saying some very strange things in the press. So, you know, he wants the fans to be more like Portsmouth fans, so that's a sort of a slight on their own fans. I think you've just got to try and galvanise everybody when you're struggling a little bit, not put yourselves against them. So Hull, for me, made an error in getting rid of Liam Rosenior, but I don't know the full facts behind all of that. And perhaps Hull fans have a different view. Who knows? Drop them in the comment if that's the case. They're coming up against West Brom, and we don't know how they're going to get on this evening, this evening being Thursday. As I say, it's West Brom have creaked along a bit lately. It dropped out the playoff zone, 21 points, 5 successive draws. So I think they're going to actually break that run, and in favour of them too. I think Hull just seem to be falling away a little bit. There's just too many negatives coming out of Hull for my liking. I'm going to say Hull City 0, West Bromwich Albion 1 on Sunday. Brings us to another side that is just stuttering as well. But I've only lost 2 matches. But they, we'll see how they go on tonight. But Burnley, they went under last time out. Well, I'm just trying to think who it was because I haven't got that written down. Because of course they lost to Millwall. We don't know how they're getting on tonight, but they lost to Millwall last weekend. One of the 1-0 doubles that Millwall did, of course. So Burnley, yes, again stuttering, not scoring goals. The goals have dried up. They've scored 17, but not many in the last few matches. But they have only let in 6, which, looking quickly down, is the best defence in the league as we go into game week 15. But they may let in Havelt in the last midweek game of the season, of the week, who knows. So Burnley against Swansea. Who knows with Swansea? I'm going to give Burnley a bit of a fillip hope, I think, and they're going to get points back on the board and a win on the board, and they will put a couple in the back of the onion bag against Swansea. Burnley 2, Swansea 0. So there we have it. Yes, another 12 games to keep us appetite whetted until we go into a fortnight of downtime, as far as league football is concerned anyway. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm sure all the home clubs will be respecting the Remembrance weekend as it is this weekend. Yes, so all of that as well. I think it's always impeccably respected when all the ones of so far what I've been watching. have been impeccably respected. So, and quite right too, when football joins in here and shows what it's made of. So there we go. We'll see how the table shakes up come Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon. I will be back, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks' time. We'll look back on what happens this weekend. We'll preview the upcoming November fixtures and the run into Christmas and all that excitement that those games bring in that period. So, have a lovely weekend, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Do take care. Thank you for watching.